pray that it's a beautiful one for you, okay? I pray that it's a beautiful one for you, okay? Now, whenever you guys are getting this, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, you guys, and welcome to Whitney D TV. I am your host, Whitney D, okay? So come on in. If you guys aren't abreast as to what has transpired. So on yesterday, or I think the day before, I brought to you guys that like we always, knew was going to happen. Okay, we knew this was going to happen. Is that the judge denied R. Kelly the grounds in which to retrial and an acquittal. Okay, now you guys know the next step is to take it to the appellate court. But as we are looking at the whole situation with New York and the time that it takes, this could be forever, forever. Okay, not for nothing, you guys. I wanted to bring you guys an update because the feds have submitted their response in regards to the defense. Now, you guys may not be aware, but sentencing is taking place on next week, the 23rd. I was trying to get my way out there, y'all, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it or not. But I will keep you guys up to date, and we will be listening to the progress and all the stuff with the sentencing. I will be broadcasting here as much as I can. Not for nothing, let's go ahead and get into this article. This picture of Bonjean irritates the heck out of me because it just shows how she is just trying to make this about her. Like, why is she looking in the camera? Why is she looking at the person that is, documenting this chain of events? Why is she, looking? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Not for nothing, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into this article. Let me pull up all my whatnots or whatever. So the feds, again, like I said, want 25 more years in jail for R. Kelly, okay? So this article is brought to you by way of Chicago Tribune, and it dropped just this morning at 6 a.m., okay? So I'm going to go ahead and read this article. You guys let me know what you guys think, okay? Federal prosecutors in Chicago are asking for a 25-year consecutive prison sentence for R. Kelly for his conviction last year on child porn charges, okay? Now, I'm going to pause right there because I want to let you guys know why they're being specific in terms as far as consecutive, and then there's another term called congruent, okay? What is the difference, okay, in regards to, okay? So, by definition, a consecutive sentence or cumulative sentence is one which does not begin to run until the expiration of a prior sentence, okay? So once he served 30, then he'll serve the 25, okay? Now, what the defense is asking for is more of a congruent sentence. What is a congruent sentence, okay? Simultaneously, okay? Consecutive sentences follow one another and adds as, opposed to combine to the duration of one sentence, okay? And so a congruent sentencing plan is where you serve all the sentences at the same time, with the prisoner being released after the longest term ends, okay? So basically, it will kind of cancel out each other. He will serve his 25 within the 30 year, okay? I just like to let you guys know in layman's terms as to what these, terms mean, okay? Let's continue. Saying he's a, quote, serial sexual predator, end quote, who has shown no remorse for his crimes and tried to blame his victims for their own abuse, which I will absolutely agree. Remember, I talked to you guys on that on several occasions, stating that he just showed no remorse, and they're playing the freaking air piano while his music was playing and stuff like that. He just wasn't remorseful, and that's why I have no sympathy for him. And oftentimes people come in the comments and they're upset because I'm not remorseful. Do I hate this man? No, I don't even know him. I don't like his behavior and his actions, and me as a Christian, I'm praying for him and praying that his soul, I don't care about the person. I don't care about R. Kelly. I care about Robert Sylvester Kelly and his soul and where he's going to go, and him, finding the help that he really needs. That's the type of friend I am. I don't care about the image of it all. he's not showing any remorse. That means that he's able to, repeat the cycle. Well, we don't confront, we can't conquer. In requesting that Kelly's sentence run consecutively to the 30-year term he already received for a racketeering conviction in New York, prosecutors are essentially asking U.S. District Judge Harry Linen-Weber to ensure that the Chicago-born R&B superstar will die in prison. Well, we not trying to be shady, but he's already in his 50s. He already has 30. So you do the math. People do have a long life expectancy, but God promised us 70. So anything after that, that is amazing. So, as he's getting in his older years, I would just only pray that he will get his life together. In their 37-page filing late Thursday, last night, which I saw it come in, prosecutors blasted allegations by Kelly's attorneys that other famous and mostly white musicians who had relationships with underage girls were given a pass by the government. Quote, Kelly not only refuses to accept any responsibility for his conduct, but he repeatedly deflects any blame for his crimes and instead advocates that he is being treated unfairly because, for example, other artists and musicians should be prosecuted for these crimes. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Janice Appleton, Elizabeth Polozzo, Jason Julian, and Brian Williamson wrote, quote, plain and simple, Kelly does not comprehend that what he did was wrong, end quote. I would have to agree. The prosecutors also wrote that a consecutive sentence was necessary to, quote, protect the community from Kelly as he has shown no signs of rehabilitation. I would have to agree. Kelly, 56, was convicted by a jury in September on charges including child pornography related to his years of sexual abuse of his goddaughter, quote, Jane, end quote, Jane, as well as sexual misconduct with 2 other girls. He was acquitted, however, of the explosive allegations that he and others conspired to rig his initial Cook County trial in 2008. A jury in U.S. District Court in Brooklyn found Kelly guilty in 2021 of racketeering conspiracy charges alleging his musical career doubled as a criminal enterprise aimed at satisfying his predatory sexual desires. The government sentencing memo illustrated the stark contrast Linen-Weber will have to sort through on Kelly's sentencing hearing at the Dirksen U.S. courthouse on Thursday. That's what I was telling you guys on next week. While Kelly faces anywhere from 10 to 90 years for the Chicago conviction, the calculus that matters most is whether Linen-Weber makes the sentence consecutive to Kelly's sentence in New York, which would virtually guarantee he would never be released. Kelly's lawyers have asked for a concurrent sentence of about 11 years in prison, arguing that a consecutive term would be overkill and ignore significant mitigating factors, including Kelly's own traumatic upbringing and the fact that many of the abuse allegations in the case were decades old. Wow. Jennifer Bungine, Kelly's lead attorney, also argued in her filing last week that the federal government's, quote, obsession with ensuring that Kelly dies in prison, end quote, is troubling, given that other famous and mostly white musicians, including Elvis Presley, were given a pass despite, quote, credible histories of sexually abusing underage women, end quote. Presley met his future wife, Priscilla, in Germany in 1959 when she was 14 and he was 24. They began dating with her parents' approval, and he married her 5 years later after she became an adult. Now, I don't know if she noticed what she just did to her baby. She got the approval of her parents. So these other young ladies didn't in a lot of cases, but I digress. Kelly's 5-week trial in Chicago featured some 34 witnesses. The jury was shown clips from 3 separate videos made in the 1990s depicting Kelly abusing Jane, including the same tape from his Cook County trial, as well as another where he instructed her to refer repeatedly to her 14-year-old genitalia. Jane, as she was known in the trial, testified for the first time that not only was it her on the videotapes, but that Kelly had sexually abused her innumerable times when she was a minor at his recording studio, his home, on tour buses, and in hotel rooms. And that is something that I've always just kind of like, double down on. It's just like the recordings, what I'm saying, the constant repeating of her story. She never, sorry, y'all, I don't know what happened to my screen. She never, denied any of that. She never, changed her story. It all, stayed accurate. It didn't change up much. Anyways, asked on the witness stand why, after 2 decades of silence, she finally decided to come forward and speak out, Jane said, quote, "I became exhausted with living with Kelly's lies," end quote. The jury's split verdict came 14 years after Kelly's infamous acquittal on similar charges in Cook County, which were based on a single video of Kelly allegedly abusing Jane in the hot tub room of his former home on West George Street. Jane had refused to cooperate in that case. Kelly was also found guilty on 3 out of 5 counts related to enticement of a minor, including Jane and 2 other victims who came forward to testify against him. But in a rare loss for federal prosecutors, the jury acquitted Kelly and 2 co-defendants on sensational charges that they conspired to retrieve incriminating tapes and rig his 2008 trial by pressuring Jane to lie to the investigators about their relationship and refuse to testify against him. Now, Kelly was also found not guilty of filming himself with Jane on a video that jurors never saw. Prosecutors said, quote, "Video 4, end quote, was not played because Kelly's team successfully buried it." But defense attorneys questioned whether it existed at all. Now, Bongine is appealing Kelly's conviction and sentence in Brooklyn's federal court, where an appellant brief is due next month. Also planning to appeal his conviction in Chicago for the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. Other than those appeals, which could take years, Kelly's long legal road appears to be coming to an end. Last month, Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox announced she was dropping 4 separate Cook County indictments against Kelly, in part to conserve resources, given his 2 federal convictions. Kelly is also facing a charge of solicitation in Minnesota, though no trial date has ever been set in that case, and the likelihood of it moving forward would appear to be very remote. Now, Bongine's sentencing memo filed last week delved deeply into Kelly's own traumatic childhood in Chicago, including being shot in the arm at age 14 while riding his bike, witnessing frequent domestic violence, and being repeatedly sexually abused by his sister and family friend. Now, no shade, and we've talked about this. The thing is that they're trying to use that as an excuse. That's no excuse. I went through stuff. It was no excuse as to my way of dealing with my trauma. You can't go through trauma and break the law and think that that's some kind of pass. Quote, "Kelly was a damaged man in his late 20s with an extraordinary traumatic childhood that he failed to confront," end quote, Bongine wrote. Quote, "He lacked the insights or ability to appreciate the ways in which his traumatic childhood impacted his unhealthy sexual development and harmful choices," end quote. Oh, so you would agree. Oh, okay. Now, while prosecutors allege Kelly sexually groomed Jane and other vulnerable teen girls, Bongine characterized Kelly's relationships as more complicated. Nothing that both Jane and her friend, quote, Pauline, end quote, acknowledged on the witness stand that at times they felt loved by him. Jane told the jury she, quote, felt good, end quote, about their initial interactions. Bonjean's memo stated in that she felt, quote, that he loved me, that he would take care of me, that he was my protector, end quote, but she was 14. Quote, Jane did not say she feared Kelly or that he said or did anything to instill any type of fear in her that caused her to have sexual contact with him, end quote, Bonjean wrote. But prosecutors in their filing Thursday said Kelly, quote, brazenly blames his victims, end quote. Now, while refusing to accept responsibility for his crimes. Quote, at the age of 56 years old, Kelly's lack of remorse and failure to grasp the gravity of his criminal conduct against children demonstrates that he poses a serious danger to society, end quote, prosecutor said. Okay. And that's the end of that particular article. Like I said, I agree. I absolutely and utterly agree with the feds and what they, place in regards to all of this. Like, he is not remorseful, because again, as we heard from psychologists, and psychiatrists, we hear that, normally they repeat the offense. Okay. It doesn't stop because they're sick in the mind. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we can act as if, this man is, oh my God, no, he was not remorseful. Not one time did he even look at the victims. He didn't shed a tear. He was not reactive any way, shape, or form. So it's kind of like, yeah, like he's a menace to society. I don't care what nobody say, but that's what I say. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. While you guys are there, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And I'll see you on the next update. Bye.
What the hell is wrong with you people? Every famous nigga that gets arrested is not Nelson Mandela? Yes, the government conspires to put a lot of innocent black men in jail on fallacious charges. But R. Kelly is not one of those men. We all know the nigga can sing. But what happened to standards? What happened to bare minimums? You a fan of R. Kelly? You want to help R. Kelly? Then get some counseling for R. Kelly. Introduce him to some older women. Hide his camcorder. But don't pretend like the man is a hero.